Donald Trump might as well, at this point, change his campaign slogan from "Make America Great Again" to "Illegal immigrants are coming to get you, and I'm going to prove it if it's the last thing I do, even if it means I have to take down the entire Republican Party in the process." 2016. What started off as an apparently offhand remark about Mexican immigrants committing crimes and raping people, just one part of a long and very rambling campaign announcement, now seems to have blossomed into a full-blown campaign strategy. And it's jeopardizing years of work by the Republican Party to suppress its anti-immigrant strain and engage the growing Latino population. Amid the massive backlash to Trump's immigration comments, instead of apologizing, he's been trying to save face by proving he's actually right about the overwhelming criminal tendencies of undocumented immigrants coming from Mexico. It's why he seized on the story of the white woman shot here in San Francisco last week by an undocumented immigrant who'd been deported multiple times. Despite being an isolated incident, that event was seen to confirm all the ugly fears Trump's been stoking. And the more he's thrown in his lot with the nativist right wing, the better Trump has performed in Republican presidential polls. His demagoguery has made him a force to be reckoned with. Tonight now, he's taking it even further. At this hour in LA, Trump is making a big show of meeting behind closed doors with family members of, quote, victims of illegal immigrants, according to his campaign's press release. He's going to take questions from the press afterwards, but we're not going to bring it to you live because, well, frankly, it's gross, and we've heard it before. If he makes any news, we'll tell you about it. After the event tonight, Trump travels to Arizona, where he'll appear at a rally tomorrow with none other than infamous anti-immigrant Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Joining me now, Republican media consultant Rick Wilson, who has been somehow dragged into the Donald Trump beat on the All In show for his sins. So, Rick, here's the issue as I see it. The Republican establishment, and I think very smart Republican strategists, since basically 2006, when the kind of right-wing grassroots rose up and helped to kill comprehensive immigration reform in McCain-Kennedy, have tried very hard to make sure that when opposing immigration bills, it is not done on bases and with rhetoric that can sound derogatory or racist or intolerant. And all of a sudden, it seems to me like that cat's back out of the bag and that Pandora's box has been reopened after literally a decade of people trying to sit on it and keep it closed.
Well, look, Chris, I mean, part of the problem here, that's the fundamental underpinning problem of Trump, is he's got an issue that maybe there's even merit to talk about this issue as a policy question. Frankly, we should be talking about long-term criminal illegals who come here and are basically protected in these cities. Maybe that's a meritorious issue to talk about. But the way he's doing it is so destructive, and he's throwing haymakers with this one issue. And yes, he is activating a fraction of the base that is very, very angry about this issue and that is very, very passionate about this issue. And it has become this vicious media cycle where it's recursive of how it feeds on itself. Every time Trump says something outrageous, he gets coverage and feedback. And so he does something more outrageous the next day. So this isn't going to stop. This isn't going to taper off until somebody goes out there and calls him and drags him into the rest of the issue fight that Republican presidential candidates can and should be talking about.
Right, and that you said this the last time you were on, and I thought it was a really a good point, which is, look, if this guy's going to run like a front runner, if he's going to be covered in the media like a front runner, then, you know, the guy's got to do things that serious presidential candidates do, is say, okay, well, here's my immigration plan, or here's my tax plan. Like, you know, actually produce some paper, have some kind of architecture of what a Trump presidency would look like. But he just also
except for
weirdly,
except for this issue and a sort of vague sense of swagger, the guy has nothing out there on the table. Oh, I'll take care of China. I'll negotiate with Putin. He'll say, yeah. That seems a little vague to me. Just call me crazy, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of meat on the bones of the Trump operation beyond this one particular hallmark of his campaign.
Do you think a lot about, as I do, and I will admit to a little bit of schadenfreude about it, about that first debate with him on the stage? I mean, what is that going to look like, particularly now that he seems, as almost a means of saving face, to be so committed with essentially, trying to establish that he was right in that, I think, offhanded comment in his announcement speech?
Donald Trump is going to try to turn this debate into an episode of The Apprentice. He's going to try to turn this debate into the clown show that only he can make it happen as. And he's going to try to tear up all the scenery in the room. He's going to try to be big and dramatic. He's going to try to call the other candidates to account, insult them, get in their faces, do the macho thing, bump up against their chests a little bit, because that's his MO. You can see the pattern he's pursuing right now, and you can kind of predict what's going to happen in that debate. But what you're not going to get in the debate is the degree of substance, because as I think I said on the last show, there are 4 or 5 candidates in this campaign, whether you agree with their politics or not, who are serious people, who are smart, considered thinkers. And they're going to end up with this debate being Donald Trump being asked things like, do you believe the president is a secret Kenyan Muslim? And having to answer that kind of crazy talk. And so you're going to have Trump, like I said, try to chew up all the scenery in the room and turn it into a circus act rather than an actual substantive policy debate.
What is the solution here?
Again, drinking? No, I mean, the solution here is for these guys to drag Donald Trump into the fight. And they need to start talking about Donald Trump, not on this one-note immigration question. They need to start asking questions like, hey, Donald, when are you going to be honest about your finances with us instead of these vague, ephemeral kind of I'm super rich statements? When are you going to talk about what your actual tax plan is? When are you going to address that you were a supporter of Barack Obama in 2008, that Donald Trump was once a supporter of partial birth abortion, that Donald Trump was once for gun control, that Donald Trump praised Hillary Clinton, that Donald Trump gave money to the Clinton Foundation as recently as a couple of years ago, that the majority of his federal donations have gone to Democrats. I mean, when Republicans start dragging him into the fight, this guy has a lot of trouble. His oppo file is a train wreck waiting to happen, and no one's tried to hit him on it yet to the degree they should.
Yeah. This is the key tactical decision being made right now. I think at the beginning it was wait him out, and at some point you have to stop waiting him out and actually turn into him. Rick Wilson, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.